this is something that I think can help everybody, the body and everybody, to understand the value of love. Love is the key. And what happened was I realized that a lot of people wasn't getting the understanding that the power that love possesses. Love changes your life if you understand how it works.
Welcome to another episode coming at you from ChooseYourRelationships.com, author of Love Can't Wait, which can be found on Amazon.com. So today I have another special guest. He's a transformational speaker, author, teacher on the powerful principle of love. For over 30 years, he has studied organized religion to find the elements that unite humanity and share the message with those who need it. Plus, he served in the U.S. Air Force. Now he's got a brand new book out called Love Made Simple, a guide to inner peace, contentment, and success. My special guest today is Juan Lee. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Having me on.
Yeah, thanks for making time to do this. So where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Maryland. Home is right outside of D.C.
Born and raised. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, other than my little journey in the military, was gone and shot around the world, hit a couple continents and came on back.
Yeah, so let's talk about, your experience. And so how much time did you do in the Air Force?
9 years.
So, a lot of people, I know a lot of guys, man, the last place they were stationed, that's where they at today. So, why did you decide to come back home?
Wow. That's the first time I've ever had that question.
Yeah.
First time I've had that question. I literally came back home for the reason that I got out of the military. It was that I had realized and come to find out who I was, and I wanted to share that with my family. I basically left home at 18 years old, right out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've told my family this on many occasions. When I left, I had no intentions on coming back. None.
Hey.
I was, if life was what I was feeling when I left, I was not coming back. Okay. There was, when I left, and it wasn't about my family as much as it was about my experience. And, at that point all you do is go to school.
Yep.
And what I had experienced in school was extremely frustrating because I didn't do well. I had an undiagnosed learning disability that I didn't know I had, and I couldn't stay in school. It was frustrating. I was really lost in the sense of graduating from high school. I didn't know how I was going to survive. I was like, and I wasn't going into more school because that was exactly what I had experienced that I did not want to go through. And that was that frustration.
Yeah.
So when I left home and got in the military, got in the Air Force, and like I told you, I had sort of figured that thing out.
Yeah.
I had no intentions on coming back home, but I had realized something about myself, and I felt that I wanted to share it with my family.
Gotcha.
And came back home. Family was the same, but I was changed.
Yeah. When I graduated high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I did not know what I just followed my cousins because they said they were going to college. I said, "You going to that college? Okay, I'll sign up there too." So I ended up going there for like a year, and I was like, "Man, I don't like this. This is I don't know if it's the college, I don't know if it's me, but this is I just didn't like it." and I ended up transferring to South Carolina State, and same thing. I didn't like it there either. And that's when I was like, so I told my what ended up happening. It was kind of like a blessing in disguise, really. What ended up happening is my paperwork got messed up somehow. I got double charged on classes, so I couldn't get it cleared up. You know, I didn't really know how to get it cleared up, and I had to walk my paperwork up to everybody, all the way to the dean, all the way to the president, and he basically lied and said he was going to take care of everything. I won't have no problems. And by this time, I had to go back home because I was behind like 2 months. And I went back home, and 3 months later, I was in the Navy. You know, so I can relate. I did not know, and I was upset, frustrated because I did everything my parents wanted me to do, and none of it worked out. So I said, man, why don't I do something that I want to do for a change? And I went in the Navy, man, and I never looked back, man. And I don't know about you, but when I started to travel, like just across the country and around the world, I mean, it was like a culture shock. I was like, this is how things really work. Tell me your experience.
Hey, you and I are in the same category. You're in the same category. I mean, and like I said, those 9 years, I was stationed in Delaware. I was stationed in Korea. I left Korea, went to Germany. Came back from Germany, went to Las Vegas. And when I got out, I had orders to California. And while I was in Germany, I traveled through Europe. I mean, London, Switzerland, Austria, France, Paris, Italy. I did all of these things while Belgium, all of these places while I was over there. So travel was just one of the perks. Especially being in Germany. I was in Germany 3 years.
Yeah. So when you got out, what did you do? You know, like, did you have a plan coming out?
Actually, it's interesting. The plan was to get out and to go into business with my dad.
Okay.
My dad he had experience in being an upholsterer, but he had spent a lot of time. He was retired by the time I got back out of the military, and but he had trained as an upholsterer. That he didn't actually have his career and retire in that. He actually was in transportation, but he had learned how to do upholstering, and he always enjoyed it. And I wanted to come home and spend some time with him, and we dibbled and dabbled with it for a while, and then I end up, getting me a job, and he was, getting up in age and stuff, so it was okay, and I went into manufacturing, and I did manufacturing for about 10 years. We did biotechnology. It was manufacturing equipment for biotechnology experiments. And at the time, there was a lot of the, DNA experiments and stuff was coming out. We manufactured stuff like that and experiments. And then I went from there, and I did real estate. Left there, and I started doing real estate. I started buying in real estate. And I then started doing financial real estate, financial loan officer. I was a mortgage loan officer. And I started my own company and started doing commercial financing. And I did that for a few years. And then all of a sudden I said, okay, I had an opportunity to go back into law enforcement, so to speak. And so then I went and worked for the transportation company in security for them. And then I did that for 10 years also. And then last year, matter of fact, I retired last year, wrote my book in 20, retired in 21, early 21. And since then I've started a nonprofit. It's called Clear Journey, where we teach empowerment and through education. And that's where I am right now. And that's what I'm doing. And I'm also promoting my book and speaking on the topic of love, because love is the key.
Yeah. So how did that come about? Were you speaking about it first before the book, or vice versa?
Well, my history, I go back in my time in I'm a Christian, been a Christian for over 30 years. And as a result, I had experienced a little bit of I guess I would say a little bit of a misunderstanding, not a misunderstanding, but a confusion. Let's put it like it was, confusing. That it didn't have any action associated with it. It was just like, okay, this is what we do, but why are we doing this? And I felt that it was confusing. And so a few years ago, I started just writing. And I decided, okay, this is something that I think can help everybody, the body and everybody, to understand the value of love. Love is the key. And what happened was I realized that a lot of people wasn't getting the understanding that the power that love possesses. Love changes your life if you understand how it works. And so that was what I'd gone through, and I had been experiencing this through my life. And that was what had really begun to change me, because I got saved, as we talk, in 1989. But the power of it was something that I didn't see other people demonstrate, gaining the benefits of it. I mean, it absolutely literally changed my life when I understood how love works. And that's what exactly I did. What love is attitudes. It manifests itself into attitudes. And those attitudes give you the perspective to change your life.
So do you think your experiences in the Air Force had a lot to do with how you see love and how you got started and everything?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Love, the military showed me that life and the military is a lot alike, in the sense that life is a system. It requires a system. The military, as you know, operates on systems. You plug into the system and the outcome is already determined. That's what life is all about, if you realize that we're a part of a bigger system than just ourselves. And what love does is allows you to see it and know that there's something bigger than just yourself. You can't be selfish in the system.
Yeah.
You can't be selfish. It won't work.
No.
But the system, if you go into it with the right attitude, you can be a part of the outcome that's beneficial for everybody.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%, man. So I've had conversations with people about this, because, I've been to places like Japan, Korea,
team spirit,
India, and they'll this is what they say. Hey, man, we don't think about no love over here, That, so I know you've heard this type of talk. So they're like, hey, well, I don't know, I can't relate to what you're saying, man. So what do you say when you hear people say that?
Well, that's very interesting, because the thing about it is that people who don't embrace love in that regard is that they don't have value for themselves. They don't value themselves because, see, we are humans, and humans need humans to connect. We connect with humans. That's what we are. We are, if nothing else, we've learned over the pandemic, the time of the pandemic, is that we are social people. We need one another. We have to have one another. When we can't engage one another, we almost go crazy. You know, we don't know how to handle being alone. We weren't intended to be alone. That's why we're here together collectively. And we all have something to offer. And until we recognize that, and when I say we don't love ourselves, it's because we don't know what we have to offer, because it's only for the purpose of giving it to someone else. We think that life is about what we can get.
Yeah.
But life is about what we can give.
Yeah.
It's about giving, not necessarily receiving. And it's when you're able to do that, you can see how this system works. See, you can't get in the system and say, I want to just keep it all to myself. No, you get in the system because you want to give your piece, because your piece is essential for the system to work.
Yeah. You know, I always say, I'm going to say the majority of people, they don't really know who they are. Because there's certain things I can see in them, and I might say, hey, I think you should do this. I think that's you. Mm-hmm. And they'll be like, nah, no, that's not for me. I'd be like, I think you should try it. You know,
it's that ability to not do that introspection, to understand. And see, that's where a lot of us are, because what we're looking for is for somebody else to feed it to us or to be it for us, when we have the capacity to be able to possess it on the inside so that we can give it to somebody. And that's what it is. We don't want to, we can't identify that thing it is that we have to give. That's what life is about, is giving. And it's easy to just say, I'm going to heap it upon myself and try to gather as much as I can. But the one thing about gathering and holding, trying to get stuff, is that it limits you to what you can, the amount that you can gain, that you can receive. Yeah. If you just take, if what it is you have is to give, that means that you're always open to receive something new.
Exactly, man. A lot of people I think a lot of people are afraid of who they are, but they just want to get away from it. You know,
avoid it.
Yeah. And I said, no, you should embrace who you are. And if you don't like it, you can change, you know, and get better.
And that's where we run into a lot of issues with people that are recognized that they don't like who they are, and they are afraid to do what it takes to change it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they would rather just sit in what they don't like than to do the work. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's work.
Yeah.
It's work to find out who you really are, but at that point, everything changes.
Yeah.
Because now you sit in a position to know your value.
Yeah. So when you got out, how did your friends react toward you? Because when I got out, you know, the relationship with my friends kind of changed a little bit. It wasn't like, and some of them were in the military too. They got out before I did. They went in before I did, and they got out before I did, and some are still in. But I realized that we've kind of outgrown each other, some of us. And I was like, I went home for 6 months, man, and I said, I just packed my stuff in the car and I just left. So what was your experience with your friends, you know, before, after graduation, and, you know, after high school versus coming out the Air Force?
I changed.
Yeah.
Okay. I changed. And so I didn't look to my friends, to be honest with you. I didn't look to them. I mean, because we talking about I left at 18, I came back at 27.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's shucks, we had graduated, gotten out of high school, gotten out of college, by the ones who went to college, by that time out of college and well into their lives and into careers by the time I got back home. Yeah. So everybody was about doing their own thing. And I was well into doing my own thing. And then I stopped and came home. And so that was the thing that, that I had to realize that, I was well into my career. I was almost halfway in. And I turned around and came out and started all over again. And I mean, in some sense of the way I go, man, I wish I had not done that. But, that was the reality of it. And so I didn't really look to my friends that I grew up with. They were doing their own thing. And I had to realize, and one thing I did do intentionally, and that was that I wasn't going to go back, because during that time they were, if you got out, they was like trying to get you into the Guard, into the reserves. And I was like, no, I'm turning the page, because if I look at going back, I saying that I did the wrong thing by getting out. And I was like, no, I'm gonna press forward. And that's what I did,
Yeah. When I got out, people were saying, hey man, why don't you go to reserves? I'm like, I would have been better off just staying inactive. I mean, I don't, and one thing I realized when I got out is I couldn't go back the way I used to be before I went in. So I'm like, I have no choice but to go forward. Now I was like, well, it is what it is,
Yeah, I mean, but that was, like I said, when I left, I didn't have any identity.
Oh, okay.
And when I came back, I was like, surely not going back there to the place where I had no identity. And yet, remember, I still, after 9 years in the military, still had an undiagnosed learning disability.
Yeah.
Still. And so my confidence came in what I realized about myself, in the value that the military had shown me, in saying, I'm important.
Yeah.
I'm important. I was necessary. I was sufficient. And then the thing about it was, then everybody outside of the military didn't have that same value.
No.
So I had to really hone in and accept the fact that who I was not what people were saying that I was, and I had value.
Yeah.
Because I have to basically create my own course. I had to figure out my own way in this system that's contrary to the one in which I had learned.
Yeah, you got that right, man. So that's how you came up with the concept of the book.
Yeah, because
the reason why I say that, because most books, let's say on Amazon or Barnes and Noble, right, that talk about love, they talk about the outside. They don't focus on the inside. That's why I asked that.
Yeah, well, because there's the thing, it's the guide to inner peace first, contentment, and then success. And at that point, you realize that success is based on the inside as it relates to expectations, clarity, understanding, and then begin to understand that you are uniquely made. There's no one like you, and you don't need to compare yourself to anybody.
Exactly.
That's the kind of confidence that allowed me to blaze my own course and realize that what it's going to take for me to be successful is not going to be like anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. So how long did it take you to write the book?
You mean the actual time where I said that I was going to write the book, or what basically the information that's in the book? I started writing in 2015.
Okay.
And it was in 19 that I decided to write a book.
Oh, okay. I got you.
But there was a combination of getting it was all of that information that built up to the point where it was like, okay, I want to say something. I want to put it in a book. And then it took me about a year.
Okay.
To actually go through, because writing a book it's a lot of pieces to it.
Oh, it's a lot of work, man.
It's a lot of pieces to it.
Yeah, I got 3 of them, man. I never wanted to do it, brother.
Oh, I tell you the truth. I was like, when my book launched, it was like I would have never thought that I would have ever done something like this.
Tell me about it.
And it's just that just allowed me to know that anything is possible.
Yeah. So how did which came first, the nonprofit or the book?
Actually, the book.
Okay.
The book came, and the nonprofit is based on the book, because what we do is we demonstrate love through education and empowerment to change lives. Okay. And it's just that ability to demonstrate love, because love is the thing that's undergirding everything. It's the ability to want to be able to serve and to care for humanity. And what we're going to do through various educational seminars, which we have seminars online, no matter where you are in the world, you can check them out. And we basically want to empower people with the tools that are necessary to be successful in life.
Okay. So do you do speaking gigs across the country, everything?
Well, I'm hoping to, because in the last year, in the time that I've launched, we've been in the COVID and stuff. But my desire is to get out and to speak. I've been doing quite a few podcast interviews. I'm open to speak in any venue and occasion that can offer that opportunity for me.
So what's been the response from the book since you released it?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, everybody is very it's new, because what I'm presenting is something that no one else is speaking on. Because see, I look at love as a system, and it's about a system that protects and preserves humanity. It's a way in which we begin to stop thinking selfishly as it relates to love and looking at it as selfless. And it's something, when we act on behalf of another, that changes the whole dynamic, because now it's about what I have to give, not what somebody can give to me. And there's a process that we learn to be able to change this. It's basically about reimagining love. And that's the key that I'm trying to get across to people, is that this thing called love is powerful. If we would only learn and listen to what it really is about, instead of allowing people to downgrade it by making it so selfish. It's really not.
Yeah, man. I don't know any other way to be honest. Well, and plus, man, the way I think a lot of the younger people, they don't see family the same as it was when we were growing up. It's kind of like I hear people say stuff like, "Well, if it happens, it happens. If not, oh well." It's like,
Well, to be honest with you, and I've had a couple of interviews, and I've basically told the younger generation is that we failed them.
Yeah,
we literally failed them, because when our children are raised in families, over 50% are single family homes.
Yeah.
And it's probably more than that. It's probably more than that. It's probably like more like 70% are single family homes, because as a result, I mean, as it is, we're at 50% or 55% that are divorces. You know, every 50% of the marriages that are entered into end in divorce. So what does that say for the children that are coming up? What kind of example are they seeing as it relates to wanting to emulate something that doesn't see any value in it?
Yeah. You know, I would say if you're in a big city, it's going to be tough, man. You know, but if you're in a small town, so small towns, people tend to function a little bit different. You know, small towns still have a little bit of, you know, morals, integrity, and, you know, because, you know, people know each other directly or indirectly in the small towns. So people tend to function very differently versus being in a big city where, hey, I can be in this neighborhood, and if it goes bad, I can just move across the town and start all over again, you know? So
Well,
I just think
the thing about that is that I think no matter you're in a small town, big city, is that we all carry these attitudes around with us.
yeah.
And it's similar to just thinking, you know, about the fact that, you know, we have this perception that small towns are different than bigger cities. The challenges are different.
Yeah.
But the attitudes are similar in the sense that we can have these little pockets, no matter where we are across this country, that have attitudes that are counterproductive to humanity, to our society. And it may be different than it is in the urban cities, but it's just as non-productive in the rural parts of our city as it pertains to the urban cities.
Yeah.
Just as the mindset of the city towards the urban or the rural parts of our city. We've really got to find out and understand and accept the fact that no matter where we are, we have one thing in common. We all are human.
Yeah.
And regardless as to where we migrate, where we call home, is that it has to be something that we can say that we have in common.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%, man. You know, so hey, if people wanted to reach out to you and follow you, where would they go?
Oh, come to clearjourney.org. Clearjourney.org, and you can find everything you need to know about what I'm doing, what we're doing. We're having as a matter of fact, next month, the 15th of next month, we're going to have a webinar. It's the Life and Money webinar, where we're going to talk about financial management, teaching people how to manage the money. But we're going to have all types of seminars coming up throughout the year. And you can also, you know, send me an email at info@clearjourney.org is the email, or you can find me on any of the social media, you know, juanlee.org, Juan Lee author at juanleetheauthor.com, or you can also catch me on LinkedIn, any of those places, Facebook, Juan Lee. I'm there for you.
There you have it. Like, tell me what you think below. All links will be found in the show notes. Until next time, we out. Peace.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.